Welcome to The Curated Craftsman, a podcast where we'll learn about the hands, head, and heart behind creative entrepreneurs just like you. Kate Cook is the artistic drive behind Asphalt Canvas Custom Art and your host for this conversation about art, business, and belief.
Hey guys, today I am talking with Josh Gonzalez, who is a custom painter and owner of Inline 6 Auto Body. He and his wife Lorna, who's also a co-owner of this business, are based in Lampasas, Texas, and they specialize in classic car restoration, collision repair, and automotive inspired art. And I'm excited to talk with him because he's also one of our close friends who painted our personal vehicle, a 1964 Dodge Polara. And I'm excited. We're going to dive into his hands, head, and heart behind the Inline 6 Auto Body Shop. So welcome, Josh.
Thank you for having me, Kate. I'm excited.
Absolutely. So the goal today is just to get the listeners kind of the inside look at who you are as a person, and then kind of the inner workings of your business. But first, I really want to talk to you about kind of get the listeners in on what happens in your day-to-day business. So what your business does for other people, how you serve others, and what a day in your life looks like running Inline 6.
Oh my gosh, it's craziness.
Yes.
It's craziness, but it's so awesome. Yeah. We've been in business for almost 9 years now. I took maybe 2 years. I didn't take them completely off, but I kind of took it slow just to figure out where I wanted to go with the business. And we did a revamp about 4 years ago, and it's been awesome. And we've had so much support from so many people. I love working with people in the automotive industry, and we've had so many people bring us their cars or projects like you guys did. So it's really been awesome since we revamped. And a little bit about what we do. Like you said, we do mainly restoration work on 70s, 80s, 90s imports, and then all the American classics. So it's really fun. Those are the cars that I enjoy the most. We also do collision work, and we do fiberglass work. I do custom paint work, all that stuff. But our money maker is the restoration work, and that's where our heart kind of lays. We like seeing them come back to new and looking fresh and back on the road again. So but we do a little bit of everything though.
Awesome. So let's say like Monday morning, what time are you getting into the shop?
Monday morning, we just changed our hours because of the temperature and stuff. So we're getting to the shop at 8:30 a.m. and we have 2 shop cats, so they get fed first, and then we turn on the lights, compressors, get everything going. And once everybody gets there, we all come together. We have like a little powwow. We decide on what's going to get done that day, how everybody feels, how we're going to accomplish our goals. That's about 30 minutes or so. And then we all get to work and we work hard.
Yes, y'all have to remember that Josh and his team, they work in an unair conditioned shop in the middle of Texas in the middle of summer. So we're talking like 120 degree temperatures, no lie, no drama. These guys work super hard.
Yes.
And so I'm assuming, is it Monday through Friday? Do you guys work on the weekends? Do you push on certain projects when they're due at certain, are your deadlines insane for some projects more than others?
Yes. We work Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5:30. If we have to be there on the weekends, we will, but I try to keep my time, my alone time or my time away from the shop. I really try to stay strong in that because it's really easy to get burnt out owning a small business. So I really try to stay doing my own thing on the weekends, but this weekend I will be working. So
okay.
It's not always like that.
No, I totally get that. I like to ask that question because, most entrepreneurs don't have a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
And protecting that weekend time is it is a challenge. I know personally how hard it is. So, I mean, we're recording this at almost 9 o'clock at night right now because we both work full-time jobs. So in our business.
Yes,
so
for sure.
One of my questions, y'all, I've known Josh for a few years now, but one of the questions I've been wanting to ask you is, how did you guys come up with your name, your business name, Inline 6 Auto Body?
So I really didn't want to do, I didn't want anything typical in the name. So it's actually from the motors. Uh, a lot of American classics have inline sixes, and then there's a lot of like the well-known imports that also have inline six motors.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so it's something that kind of brought both worlds together. And me and my best friends, we've been best friends for probably 15, 16 years already. We just always been a fan of that motor because it comes in, some are in classics, some are in imports. So it was a name that I felt brought a lot of things together. And I really wanted to use that as the shop name. I had a whole bunch of other names, but I felt like it brought the
Yeah, like
old
married the
school with the new
two.
school.
I
Yes,
love that.
exactly.
I
Exactly.
love that. I've
Yeah.
always wondered that. And recently y'all I say recently, it's probably what, 2 years ago that y'all finally like branded and got this awesome logo going on for yourself.
Yes.
And
Thank
man, it's
you.
a very, very cool logo if you guys get the chance. Who did that logo by chance? Do you remember?
Yes, I would love to give them a shout out. So, Pencil Break Studios, you can find them on Instagram,
Oh,
and they are also the owners of Grits Co. They have an awesome clothing company. Yes, they have an
I did not
awesome
know
clothing
that. Oh my
company.
gosh.
Yes, and Ruben Levi, he's the one that designs everything, and I love everything that they do. They're super cool people, and he does a lot of automotive inspired stuff. I believe he just did something for Hop Up magazine or
Yes.
a magazine recently. And
Yes.
yeah, he's just really cool. He does really cool stuff. So yeah, he did the logo for us, and we love it.
Oh, that's so cool. One of the conversations that Morgan and I had for the podcast, it was
Yeah.
recorded, was one of the things he said was entrepreneurs, like creative entrepreneurs, are all connected in some way. And I was
Mm,
thinking like spiritually or whatever, but he was like, no, like you use the paint that another entrepreneur created. And for this instance
wow.
with your logo, it's like you are using the talents of a logo designer, artist
Yes.
for for your entrepreneurial journey. So I love like how
Yes.
that all kind of ties us as like a through thread with all of our businesses.
For
I
sure. I
wanted
love it.
to I wanted to get kind of your backstory because I also don't know this about you. And y'all, he does not have a website. He's a social
Not yet.
media guy. So if you want to get to
Mm-hmm.
know Josh a little bit more, you can check out their Instagram and Facebook, and I'll have him shout it out here at the end. But
Nice.
what I wanted to talk to you about was how you got started custom painting. Like who was involved with getting you, like what was your earliest memory of being interested in custom automotive paint? And then how did you get started in, because I'm assuming this started as a hobby, yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so then how did you get started in that? Like was there a person that was influential in your life or school maybe? Like what was that story?
Really, nobody. I was just like, I'm going to do this.
Really? That is so
Yeah, and I
interesting.
started doing it. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm a huge fan of the lowriding scene, and
Okay.
seeing all this custom paint work and stuff like that. And you know, when when we opened our shop here in Texas, uh, starting to go to old school car shows and seeing more custom paint, it really caught my attention. And you know, before anything, before a business owner, before anything, I'm an artist and a creator. And
Mm.
so obviously that was what caught my eye. And one day I was just like, I'm gonna do this. And I bought flake offline, and I just kind of started doing some research. And yeah, one day
That's
I got an empty clear can, and I custom painted it. I still have it, and it still looks pretty decent.
that's
So
awesome. We all have our first piece like hidden away in a closet, or some of us are brave enough to
yes.
have it on a shelf. I mean, I it took me a couple years to put mine on a shelf, but
So
that's
yeah, just me
amazing.
being hard headed, saying that I'm gonna make this happen, and I did it. And yeah, I just fell in love with it.
Wow.
I love
So, I
it.
mean, at what age was that? Was that like,
So it wasn't that
10?
long ago.
Yeah, like you weren't a kid. This wasn't like a my dad taught me how to wrench on cars story. This is like a I was in my
No.
30s and at a car show and thought this is badass.
Yes, this
Okay.
was literally we opened the shop in 9 years ago. So I would say I was maybe 2 years into opening the shop, 2 years. Yeah, so I've
That's
been
amazing.
dabbling in it for about 7 years.
That's amazing. And so you don't have like a degree of any sort as far as like collision repair. Oh, wow. And y'all, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're working with like insurance companies as far as the collision repair goes.
Well, I went to a vocational school in Puerto Rico, and
Okay.
it was just a year.
Okay.
And
Okay.
once I finished that, I just jumped in, and um,
Wow.
so yeah, I have a certificate from there, but everything's just been ruining my own cars and and
Impatience from
learning
your
from there.
customers. I totally get
Yes,
that.
yes, yes,
So I did want to talk to you. You said, in Puerto
yeah,
Rico, I want people to know that you are not originally from here in America, correct? Like your family's from a different country. And do you want to talk a little bit
yes,
about that and
yeah.
maybe how that played into your journey here to Texas? Like kind of if that inspired you in any way to, I mean, you say you weren't motivated to by anybody to do your business or start this, but like,
Mm-mm.
where are you guys from? What is your backstory, your family story like?
So both of my parents were born and raised in Puerto Rico, and they graduated from college. And my father actually went to Vietnam, and he was in Vietnam for 4 or 5 years, I'm not sure. And he got back to Puerto Rico, and then they were in Puerto Rico a few more years, and they decided to move to the States. But they're born and raised there. And
Wow.
I got five sisters. So two of my sisters were born in Puerto Rico, and then they moved to the States, and they moved to a few places, and they ended up in Texas. And that's when I was born. So I was actually born in Alvin, Texas, home of Nolan Ryan, if you know about baseball. And and my two younger sisters were born in Texas. And I lived here till I was about 12. And then my parents decided to move back to Puerto Rico. And so I think I left Puerto Rico when I was about 28. So from 12 to 28, I lived in Puerto Rico. And
Mhm.
then I lived 3 years in South Korea. And then my father had some heart problems, and they sent him back to Texas to have an open heart surgery. And all the kids ended up just coming back to be with him and take care of him and stuff. And when I came back, I just decided I was going to open a shop, and then I opened a shop. So we're kind of like in between Texas and Puerto Rico our whole life, kind of.
Okay, very cool. Very cool. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, I do have a question. When you say, I mean,
Yeah,
you were an adult when you were living in a different country. Were you at all inspired by the automotive scene in either of those countries? Like, was
of
it
course.
because I heard you say you like work on imports, but you love the classics. Like, does that
Yeah.
import love come from living in a different country?
Yes, the import scene is huge in Puerto Rico. Like
Okay.
70s Corollas and 70s RX-7s, and all those 70s and 80s imports are really big on the island. Um, I'm not sure why we have so many imported vehicles, Japanese imported vehicles, but there's a lot, and there's a huge scene over there. They restore them like frame up, and that's where my love comes from. What really pushed me to get in cars was the racing scene, and in Puerto Rico they mostly race imports. So yeah, that's where my love comes from for that, for sure,
Okay,
for sure.
I'm like so nerdy when I think about it. Like the only thing I'm thinking of is like Fast and Furious. Like, don't hate me for that because I know it's so
No
like meta. It's
way.
like this like tall blonde white girl thinking about Fast and Furious while you're talking about that racing. But
No.
that's cool. I mean, that is freaking cool. I bet the race scene is so exciting with the because those cars are usually so colorful and like
Yes.
just loud, and the fans are usually so colorful and loud, and I bet that was
Yes.
a blast. Like, did you guys
It
do like
really
street
was.
racing, track racing? Like, what kind of?
I mainly did street racing. I would street race about 3 or 4 nights a week.
Oh my
And
gosh,
it was
John.
crazy, Kate. Oh my gosh, yes, it was crazy. I lived for it.
That's
I
and so
had
were your
a
sisters? Like, did your sisters ever come and do this with you?
Oh no, 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 no. They
Oh my
weren't.
gosh,
Nobody in my house is into cars. Like
I
nobody at my
cannot
house is
believe
into
that.
cars. I am the only one, Kate. Yes.
Wow,
None
that's
of them. I mean, my
amazing.
oldest sister likes cars, but she's not like into them.
Yes, it's a
But
culture,
yeah.
yes.
But it's funny that you say Fast and the Furious because I actually had a 1999 Mitsubishi Eclipse, and it's the one that comes out of Fast and the Furious.
Okay, see, so I'm not totally off, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. But yeah, street racing was definitely it. We'd go to the track, but street racing was the main thing for us.
Wow, that's cool. Okay, well, love that. So that is a little bit where your inspiration comes from.
Yeah.
I always like asking creative people this because, and I wanted to hit back with you on circle back on what you said earlier. Um, but what was it like for you to take like something that you enjoyed doing like on the side? Like,
Yeah.
let me ask you first, what were you doing prior to opening Inline Six Auto Body? Like, were you already a body man in a different shop, or what were you doing before this?
Yes, I when I finished when I finished my vocational school in Puerto Rico, I had a job at the airport, and so I would work full time at the airport. And it was probably about a year after I graduated that I got a job at an actual body shop, and it was a
Okay.
Nissan body shop. So I was there for about 4 years, and I would drive around in my Eclipse full of auto body tools, and I would do work at people's houses for them.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
very
so
cool.
I was constantly hustling, and so I already knew body work, and I had experience in collision work on new cars at the Nissan dealership.
Okay.
And when I came over here, I got a job at a used car dealership. And
Okay.
so it was kind of setting me up. I knew if I got a job at a used car dealership and I opened my shop, I would have connections and I could work on their cars. So
Okay.
that's how it worked. I worked there for a year, then I opened my shop. And probably the first year or two was just I was living off of that dealership's work. They would buy cars, bring them to me, we would fix them, take them back. And we
Wow.
had a really good relationship, so they trusted me, and that's pretty much how we kept it going. So
Wow.
I was a used car salesman before the shop, yes.
Yeah, but that's
But a good
super.
one, Kate, a good one, an honest one.
Well, hey, no, that's really cool because the networking aspect of that, like you had the forward thinking of being like, okay, if I
Yeah,
have this, I can't really be working at the brand new dealership if I'm going to be, it's like a conflict of interest almost. So like you
for
transitioned
sure.
into doing something that you had the forward thinking, like, okay, these are going to be automatic clients. So that was, I think, really
Yes,
smart, a smart business
thank
move for
you.
you, even if you didn't know it at the time. Um,
Yeah.
so obviously we've all, I mean, if you've already taken, if the listeners know, if they've taken the jump to even start a business, they're probably working two jobs at one time and it's like two
Mm-hmm.
full-time jobs.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
I personally did the same thing. I worked a full-time job that had nothing to do with art at all. And then I would come home at night and do art at night. And it was
Yes.
crazy and I had energy to do that. But I wanted to ask, like, what was the most challenging part for you transitioning this newfound hobby that, it took your time because you enjoyed it and you enjoyed learning it, I'm
Yeah.
assuming in the beginning. What was it like, or what was the most challenging part of transitioning that passion and hobby into like a full-time paying job? What was the most challenging part, or what is the most challenging part in your opinion for you, um, in that regard?
Still to this day, the most difficult thing is um, trying to make money,
Mm,
doing what you love to do. You know, it's
yes.
easy. I feel it's easier to make money when you're just doing a job, but it's a lot harder to make money when you're doing something that you're passionate about, that,
Yes.
you really want to put your all in. And it's just, you really have to, we really we do our best to take care of our customers and to respect their money, because we know how hard it is, how hard you got to work to earn money. So
Mhm.
it's really hard to kind of kind of juggle everything that you want to do to this vehicle with what you're going to get paid for it. I don't know
Mm,
if that makes sense, but we charge hourly. So if it depends how many hours we have on the vehicle,
yes.
and it's just holding yourself back. I'm really passionate and I want everything to be as close to perfect as possible. So it's
Yes.
really challenging to,
Like not over
control your
deliver.
passion.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, and not get paid for that work. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, I think every entrepreneur or creative entrepreneur anyway, I think like if they have like their reputation is on the line, obviously. And
Yes,
so like
yes.
over delivering for certain clients, I think is important. I think all clients are
Mm-hmm.
important, obviously, but I think like over delivering for those, you can tell when somebody's going to value what you're doing. And it's those types
Yeah.
of people that you're like, okay, I'm going to over deliver and like do a way
Mm-hmm.
better, just put all my heart into it. But yeah, you're not going to get paid for that. And
No.
like for me, that's where my faith comes in. Like people call it karma, but I call it faith. And I
Yeah,
wanted to dive into that with you, and I wanted to ask you, like, has your faith, especially in regards to money, has that
yeah.
played a role in your success as a business? Like, what is the juxtaposition for you between money and faith? Like, how does that work for you? Because for me personally, and I won't go deep into it, but like, if I
Yeah,
over deliver something for a specific client, it's because I have the Holy Spirit in me telling me, like, okay, I mean, this is gonna bring you good down the line, whether it's
yeah,
however that comes. It's not like a tit for tat thing. It's hard to explain, but it is the Holy Spirit. It's a nudge that I get that I'm like, okay, this person understands what I'm offering and they know I'm going to go above and
mm-hmm,
beyond. And maybe they'll come back or they'll tell another friend that can afford my work. So, what is that like for you?
definitely. I feel like I feel like faith is everywhere when it comes to, to life in general. Just, you know, and we don't, to the point where we don't even think about these things anymore. Like we get in
Mm,
our car, we put the key in the ignition, we have faith that it's going to start,
mhm.
that is a type of faith. When you flip the switch at your house, you have faith that that light's going to turn on.
So
So
true.
I feel like it is in everything, it is in absolutely everything.
Yes.
Um, Without faith, you cannot accomplish anything. You have to have faith in yourself. You have to have faith in your employees. You have to have faith.
Oh,
If you, whatever God it is that you believe in, you have to have faith that God is with you and
hmm.
guiding you, because without faith there is nothing. So it is on a daily basis. Even, is this customer going to pay? I have faith that he's going to
That's right.
pay, and we're
Yes.
going to make payroll. So whatever your beliefs are, like we practice faith every day. So it is a huge part of what we do on the day-to-day basis. Just faith
I
that the
love that.
customer is going to love this and
Mm.
they're going to enjoy what we're doing for them. So it's every day for us, every single day.
Oh man, I freaking love that insight. Would you say that opening a business has strengthened your faith in all of those aspects, like not just in God, but in general?
Yes, in every aspect. You have to be smarter, stronger, faster,
Yes.
everything, everything.
Yes, you have to
So
be on point.
100%.
Oh, yes.
Yes, every day.
Yes,
Every
I
day.
personally
Yes.
believe the same. I feel the same exact way. I just think about like, man, I was not the same person I was when I started this business.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very challenging career path.
Yes, ma'am. It really is. It really
Um,
is.
that's wonderful. I didn't even think about the aspect of like actually having faith in your customer and faith in your ability as an artist or
Yeah.
craftsman. Like I love that concept of like faith not just in God but in your daily tasks. I love that.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
kind of takes the burden off your shoulders, you know? It's
Oh,
like,
so
okay.
much.
That's
So
awesome.
much.
So when you transitioned your business or your hobby to a business, what was the best part?
Wow, there's so much good about um running a business. It is super hard, but if you've and I was there's actually a real I believe he's 19 years old, a 19-year-old man. I'm not going to say kid, a 19-year-old man that works at the shop next to us, and he just started his own business venture. He's going to open a mechanic shop. And I was talking to him and I was just telling him how difficult it is. But I was also telling him, like, just think of the time that you've been the most proud of yourself and multiply that by 100, because there's going to be times that you are going to be so proud of yourself. And um, yeah, it's the highs of the highs and the lows of the lows.
Oh man,
There's
no truer
just
words.
so
No truer
many.
words.
Yeah. I can't tell you one or two, because there are so many highs and so many lows. But yeah, there's just it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to know that you're providing for yourself on a daily
Mm,
basis and you're also providing for other families. It makes you feel big, it makes you feel strong in a good, humble way.
yeah, yeah, I
So there are
totally
so
get
many
that.
beautiful things about owning your own business, in my opinion.
Oh
And
man,
just an experience. Even if you only have it for 2 3 years, you're gonna grow so much. It's totally worth it. If you've ever
yes, and
wanted to do it, just do it.
Yes, and I think that you kind of look at the world, if I were to close up shop tomorrow, I would look at the
Yeah.
world so differently because what's behind the counter and what's actually happening at these small family
Yes.
businesses, and it is not an easy day to day thing. Oh, y'all, there's his
Mm-mm.
logo. If we ever put this on YouTube, you'll see the logo.
Oh, let me turn it.
Oh my gosh, well, you just opened a bunch of doors that I want to talk about. I want to talk about
Cool.
Lorna because
Yeah.
Lorna is Josh's wife, and her and I actually met first because she was wearing this really cute jumpsuit that was like looked like she's from the 40s at this really cool car show here locally in Temple. And I was like, okay, I have to meet this girl and figure out where she got this jumpsuit. And little did I know she was connected to Josh, and then that's how we kind of built our friendship with the Polera, which I'll connect a picture probably to this podcast so y'all can see that.
Awesome.
But Lorna is, in my opinion, from my outsider's perspective, probably your biggest cheerleader. Am I wrong?
Lorna is my right hand, my left hand, my right foot, my left foot.
Yes, yes.
Lorna is down for whatever. Like,
That's awesome. So what does she
actually, the
do?
re
Like, what does she do in your business? Like, what does her day-to-day tasks look like? How does she help you? I mean, is she in the shop with you, or is she more like the back end business side? How does she work with you?
she is in the shop with me every day. Lorna orders all the parts. I'm glad you asked about Lorna because a lot of people don't know how important she is to the shop. She orders all the parts, she orders all the materials. Lorna has learned everything about all materials.
Yes.
She deals with the customers. I really want my product to come out how I want it to come out. So it's for me, it's important for myself to be in the shop. So Lorna deals with all the customers. Lorna, everything that has to do with the administrative aspect, Lorna takes care of.
Wow.
So when you call, you will talk to Lorna. When you message, you will talk to Lorna. She is 50% of the shop, if not
Man,
more.
that's awesome, y'all. You need to, I hope that people listen to this and like a lot of like self-made millionaires don't talk about their spouse these days, and I think
Mm,
it's so important to give credit to your teammate in life because
yes.
I mean, if y'all are hearing Josh, like I would venture to say that you probably wouldn't want to be an entrepreneur without a teammate of some sort.
Yeah, for
Even if
sure.
they're not like working, I would say even if they're not working full time with you in your business, like how Josh's wife does, man, having that teammate, even if it's like not your spouse or like if it's your sister, brother, dad, mother,
Yeah,
best friend, whoever, just some other person that can share the load with you, man, consider yourself a blessed person because I have that. Josh clearly
huge.
has that. And I think it's an integral part of business just as much as faith. Like, I think those two things combined, you can become pretty powerful.
For sure. For sure.
Awesome. And how long have
100%.
you and how
100%.
how long have you and Lorna been married?
Oh my gosh, we got married in 2010. So we're in
Okay.
2023.
Oh my
Yeah, a
gosh, you
long time.
guys. That is a long
Yeah.
time. I did not realize. And how did y'all meet?
We actually met at, I was doing sound. I used to do sound for bands, and I was doing sound for a band. And somehow she ended up in the sound booth. And I guess somebody asked her to do something for them, and she ended up in the sound booth. And that's where we met each other. And then
So
she
cool.
would just come back, and we became friends. We were friends for a few months, and then we started dating. And I think we dated off and on for like 7 years, and then we
Wow.
got married in 2010. Yeah, so we've known each other for a long time. Yeah,
Wow, that's wonderful. And did she know anything about the automotive industry or cars in any way when she met you? Oh my
nothing,
gosh, that is
zero
shocking.
Kate,
That is shocking. Y'all, because
and
I
she
like
like
she
knows
knows her
so.
stuff.
Yes,
Yes. Wow, that's amazing. Like
yes,
she's bought in, man. You're a lucky
a
man.
100%.
That's
Yeah,
cool. I love that. Well,
100%.
I want to so circling back to when you told that 18, 19-year-old kid about like the best parts of business, I wanted to ask you if you could pinpoint like maybe the top or the top three projects or collaborations or
Whoa.
like not even if it's your top three, but like something that really stands out to you. Like when someone that's 18 or 19 comes up to you and says, I'm starting my business, like if they're asking you for like your favorite story or something, like is there one project that stands out to you?
There's been a lot of projects.
I totally get it. I
There's
know it's a
been a
big
lot of
question.
projects.
I know it's a
Yeah.
big question. Or
I
even like a
would,
favorite client, even, someone that like sticks
yeah.
to you in your head.
I'm gonna start off with I'll tell you my favorite project, my last favorite project, and y'all can check him out online too. His name is Zach Lefty Colbert. He's an amazing tattoo artist, and he builds bikes and stuff. And he actually just recorded a song. Like, guy does so much, but
I did
he's
not know
kind of
that.
like a let. What was that?
I love him. I did not know that he did like recording and stuff. That's cool.
Yeah, he just recorded a song for his wife. Super cool. I mean, the guy does all this. Yeah, he's just one of those people that does a little bit of everything and does it well.
Yes.
So he's an amazing tattoo artist, and I met him, and he told me that he had a tank and a fender, so a set of tins for a Harley chopper that he was going to sell, and he was like, "Hey, would you paint them?" And I'm like, "For sure." He does tattoos on me and stuff like that. So I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And he told me, "Do whatever you want." And customers always say, "Do whatever you want," but they don't really
Yes.
mean it. And
Yes,
they
that's a
started giving
scary
you a list of
saying.
colors. Yeah. But
Yes.
he was legit. Like, he was like, "Do whatever you want, Josh."
Wow.
And I learned so much on that bike because he actually let me do what I want. And I wasn't thinking about if he's going to like it or if anybody else is going to like it. I just did what I felt. I did what I wanted. And I just learned so much throughout that project. It's great to make money. It's great to not have to want for anything,
Mhm.
but to be able to just put all of yourself in one project, regardless of everything, it's you learn a lot about yourself. And I learned a lot about a lot of things through that
Would you
project.
would
And
you be open to sharing like anything specifically, like even if it's technical, would you be open to sharing
for
that?
sure,
Okay.
um, one of the things is that I really worry about what people think. I
Oh,
really want people to like my end result, and the things that I put out. And I feel like it actually holds me back from putting out holds me back from putting out some of my best work. So I feel like when you're able to clear your mind of all that, you're able to do things better, enjoy things more, even just the day to day in life, just do and go from there. So I learned that I worry about that a lot, and it really helped me just to let go a little bit.
wow.
And
That is
yeah,
such an essential thing.
it's really a vulnerable thing. And I feel like if you're not somebody that creates, you won't understand how difficult it is to put yourself out there,
Yeah.
and to see what people are going to say. Even this right here, like, before the build up to this, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, am I going to do a good job? Am I going to do horrible?"
Yes,
And it's
same.
really a beautiful thing when you can start. Yeah, I know. We've been texting each other, "Hey, this, that, this." So it's really a beautiful thing to be able to let that go and just be you. And I learned that through that bike, and just to be able to put all you got. And I think it came out awesome. I would have loved to have a little bit more time with it, but there's always a timeline. And I was also able to collaborate with Shayna Guy. She's an awesome custom painter and
Yes, yes, I
pinstriper.
know
She
her. Yes.
pinstriped it for me. Yeah. She just changed her Instagram, but it's like 13th Street Customs or something like that.
Yes.
So I was able to collaborate with her, and it went really well. And I love the bike. I love how it came out, and yeah, it was just a great experience. So that's definitely one of my favorite
I love
um,
that.
projects.
I think
Yeah.
it's important to note because I'm hoping to have obviously a bunch of different types of craftsmen on here, craftsmen and women. And I want
Yes.
people to understand Josh and I are in the same industry when it comes to automotive artwork. And with what he's saying, a lot of the times we are hired by people to create artwork on vehicles, motorcycles, gas tanks, helmets, things that people will be using, and they have very specific wants and needs. As it's your
Yes.
typical commission, but there's also a usability factor that has to be played. Like it has to be able to be used and put in the weather and put to the test. And so
Yes.
I think sometimes a lot of the creative juices that you would have with just like going hard on like a empty canvas is a little bit like stifled because of that like usability factor and because of the client's idea. Like it's not to say the client's idea is bad or won't look good. But any kind of commission art, I think, has that like kind of stifled effect to it. Like, yeah, they may like your style and they're coming to you for that, but they also still want their own spin on it. And so
Yes.
I think it's important. It's interesting to me that like your favorite, the piece that stands out to you the most is the one where you're allowed to be the most free. Like you weren't
For sure.
confined to a customer's idea, which I think is so important that all people who are creative have that outlet every now and then, probably more often than not, more often than we give
Yes.
ourselves a chance for. um,
Yeah.
do you give yourself an opportunity to create for no reason, like for no money? The number one
I'm
question.
really pushing myself to do that recently. It's really difficult. And sometimes I feel like I'm being selfish, to be honest with you, when I take
Oh,
out time for
totally.
myself because there's so much going on, and it's really difficult. But I'm at the point at my career where I'm really just trying to enjoy this.
Yeah.
Before it was build up, build up, build, 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 and I'm still building, but I'm doing my best to enjoy it. So I'm really pushing myself to start on my own pieces just for fun, just for me. And if somebody wants to buy them, awesome. And if they don't, I'm doing it for me. But I have a million half done projects that I have not finished.
Same, dude, same. And they just keep
Yes,
piling up. Like I'll get halfway done and then I'm like,
yes,
shit, I gotta get back to my other stuff.
that's right.
Oh, wow. I love that. And
That's right. So
man,
I'm really pushing for it.
that's good. And so do you have any like practical ways that you're pushing for that? Like, are you allotting time during your week? Or I'm just trying to think of somebody that's having issues with this, like myself. Um,
Yeah.
like, are you like looking at your calendar and being like, okay, once I get this project done, I'm giving myself 2 weeks, or what is your practical? Are you just kind of hoping in a prayer? Like, it's okay if that's it. I just wanted to know if there's a
Yeah.
practicality behind it.
Yeah, I'm really just trying to figure out when I'm gonna work on it. I have the idea, I have everything ready. I have so many ideas, but I'm still trying to carve it into my schedule.
Okay.
We're working on our house. We have so much going on at the shop. It's car show season, so
Yes.
we want to make it out to meet people, see what's out there and stuff. So I don't have a specific time yet, but I will.
Oh, I
I
love
will
that.
find that time.
I love that. I totally get, like especially when you have somebody relying on those bills to be paid, like it's not just
For
you and yourself
sure.
and there's a family that you're supporting and people are wanting art. I totally get it. So I totally, totally get it. Um, the other thing, so in the same line of this, you say you have these ideas. Do you like document them in any way, like on your phone or sketchbook? Like, what is your go-to way to keep these ideas from, or do you just keep them in your head like a crazy person?
So before I used to keep them in my head, so I've forgot half of those. But right now, I really just I put everything in my iPad and I use Procreate a lot, and I'll
Okay.
just have pictures there. If I see something that inspires me for something, if you looked at my pictures, you'd be like, "What the heck is this?" Because it's just like random stuff, a
Dude,
leaf
yes.
or something like that.
Yes. Totally get that.
So I kind of just bunch them all together. Sometimes we'll be at the shop. I'll see something. I'll take a picture. So it's really just mostly on my iPad.
Okay.
I wish I was more organized where I could have a sketchbook,
Same.
but things are really hectic when you're a small business owner. So I
Yes.
would probably lose it after a week. So
I totally get that.
yeah, mainly everything is mainly on my iPad right now. That's my
Okay.
go-to. It keeps it easy. But
And
yeah,
do
I
you
try to write them down.
like, okay, so let's say if you had like all next week, all your things are taken care of and somebody just wants you to go in, let's just say I want you to go in and just create the next thing that you want to create. Like, what is that?
Oh my gosh. We
You have a
actually already
full week.
spoke about this. Yeah,
Yes.
I really just want to do a huge piece, like, I don't know, maybe 4 foot by 4 foot or something like that in metal, custom painted, but not lowrider style, not custom culture style, just what I feel to put out. So I really just want to make a really big painting and just display it. That's really what I'm focused on with custom paint.
Okay, yeah, because that's good to explain like what custom paint is, because a lot of people are like custom
Yeah,
paint, like what the heck? But maybe you can go into like what kind of tools you use and like how you define custom paint. Like what is that to you?
yeah, I love that. Uh, Obviously, airbrushes and paint guns are our main tool. You need airbrushes and you need paint guns to do custom paint. Um, and tape, honestly, tape is like the go-to. It's You need tape to make your designs, to make shadows. That's how we make our lines crisp and make our designs. Um, and we use base coats, base colors for automotive base colors, and that's what we spray on the panels. And flake, gold leaf. There's abalone. There's so many things that you can use for custom paint, but it's all automotive paint. It's not spray paint. It's
Yes.
all automotive paint. Um,
Which means it's gonna
and
withstand all weather. It's gonna withstand like
yes,
even like things brushing up against it if it's, not like a piece of chain or something, but it's gonna withstand a lot of
yes,
things. That's
yes.
that's
So
a
it's
perfect
we
description.
just make art with automotive paint. Make art with
Yes.
automotive paint, and yeah, it's really beautiful. I love it. I
I
love
love
it. I've
I
loved it
love
for a
that.
long time.
Yes, definitely. So in that sense, obviously this podcast is called The Curated Craftsman. So
Yes.
in my lofty goals in my head, what I'm thinking for this is like I would love to have you define what you define as a craftsman. Like what is your definition of a craftsman? And if it's easier, you can even say like what makes good craftsmanship? Like I know those are two
Yeah.
very close, similar words, but for you, what does that mean?
I'm when I hear craftsman, I think of somebody that works with their hands, and I think of somebody that also works with tools. We cherish our tools. Our tools are so important to us,
Mm.
and I don't think you really understand that unless you're a person that works with tools. You know,
Mm.
paintbrushes, paint guns, dolly and hammers, just DAs, the tape that I was just talking about, that's a
Yeah.
tool for us. So I believe a craftsman has a strong relationship and respect for their tools. Um, and for me, a craftsman
Oh, you still there?
by their own passion. We create because we love what we're doing. Yeah, I really enjoy and I really love what I do. And if I can't do it good, then I'm not going to do it. And I don't feel like I feel like if you don't do it good, you're not really a craftsman. This
Mm.
is this. I mean, I'm looking at this beautiful painting behind Kate, and there's like a sunset,
Yep.
and I can't get my eyes off of it. And it's like, you can tell the passion that is behind that painting, the heart, dedication, and the pride that goes in that. And I believe that that's
Mm.
what a real craftsman is. A lot of people make things, it's cool, but if you're not putting all of yourself into that and you're not putting your name behind that,
Mm.
I don't believe you're a true craftsman if you're just doing
Mm.
it for the money. So that's what a craftsman is for me, 100%.
Dude, I love that. I love that. You cut out just a tiny bit, but I got the whole thing. And the tool aspect I
Yeah,
love that definition of somebody. Man, it actually inspires me for like a painting, like like a it's kind of like
awesome.
a halo of tools around a craftsman. Like that's like
Yes.
that's their job. I love that concept, and I think would you feel comfortable? So like if somebody said, "Oh, Josh, he's a craftsman," like you would own that comfortably. You think that title?
That's hard. It wasn't until the other day that I really called myself a painter or a
Mm.
custom painter or a small business owner. Like
Oh,
I take
yeah.
that stuff really seriously.
Yes.
Um, but I think I'm at the point that I would 100% own that. I
I love that.
I've grown a lot, and yeah, I would 100% own that. It's not something that I feel like many people have experienced, and I feel like I've experienced. I still have a lot of experiences to go through, but I feel like I've definitely experienced that, and yeah,
Yes.
I would definitely own that for sure.
Wow, that is so cool. I'm
How
so glad.
about you? Would you own that? How would you
Actually,
feel
yeah,
about that?
creating this podcast, Morgan and I have been talking about that a lot, and yeah, I would definitely define myself as a craftsman.
Good.
Like, and for me, it's kind of like for me personally, it's like a generational thing. Like, it's something that I've
Mm,
always wanted to maybe have as my part of my name, but also like my dad is a huge like draftsman, craftsman. Like I would call him a Renaissance man because he's so
Wow.
talented in a bunch of different mediums. And then his dad was like that, and his dad, it just goes on and on and on. So it was really interesting for me to hear you say that yours came from kind of, I don't want to say from nothing, but it definitely like was inspired by things later in your life. It wasn't like something you were
Yes.
born and raised around. I keep having a question that I was going to ask you. Oh, in that same thread, do you believe, because you said a craftsman has some like a passion for their job and they're really good at it. Um, Something that's been in my head a lot and rolling around is, do you
Yeah.
think that a craftsman can be made, or is it something that someone's born into? Like, okay, I know for sure that I was born as an artist because that's always what I've been good at. But I
Yeah.
also know people, and now I'm learning about your story, and it's like you weren't born into the automotive scene or being great at custom paint. Like you learned it,
Mm-mm.
and now you're calling yourself a craftsman. So I guess I just answered my own question. Like, do you think that people can train in a said craft and become a craftsman? Do you think that it's trainable?
I do. I think it's trainable, but one thing I would like to say is we're using the word passion a lot, and I
Mm.
feel like people think that that's all it takes.
Oh,
Like if you're
yes.
passionate about something, it's going to take you there, and that's not what it is.
Mm.
Passion is a great thing to have, but it's really about hard work. And I know everybody's heard it a lot, but it's about hard work. It's about dedication. It's about knowing what you want to do and sticking to that
Hmm.
through the good, through the bad, through the ugly, through everything.
Hmm.
That's really it's passion is a great thing to have and it'll get you started,
Hmm.
but that's not what'll keep you going. So it has to
Yes.
be more
Oh,
than just
yes.
passion. It has to be dedication. And I really just decided that this is what I was gonna do and that's it. And even just a quick little story, I not too long ago I got my hands tattooed by Zach, and
Okay.
he was like, "Josh, are you sure you want to do this? Because it's not going to be as easy to get a job after this." And I was just like, in my head, I'm like, "What are you talking about? What job?
Oh, I
This is
love
my
that.
life. This is my life. This,
Wow.
I'm not even worried about that." So it
Wow.
really has to be more than just passion. You have to decide this is what I want to do and stick to that. And passion will come as you stick to it. You will become passionate about what you do. And
Yeah. Yeah, I would say
hopefully
I
you'll
would
become passionate about it.
Yeah, I would venture to say like borderline obsessive because that's where I'm at. Like,
Definitely.
like my passion has driven me to small obsession because the wins, they can be so few and far between, but when they're there, they're so
Mm-hmm.
sweet. And so I get that.
Yes.
Like you just like even in your lowest moment, you're just like, damn, I'm gonna make this work. Like I have to make this work.
Yes.
It's that cheesy like zero options mentality type thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
interesting. I love that you have that insight. Because I love the differentiation between, passion and dedication because I think they
Mm-hmm.
get intertwined a lot or even like, used in between where like they can be used for the same meaning, but they're not the same meaning. So I love that you just defined that for
Yes.
everybody. I hope that's as inspiring as it is to everyone as it was to me. That like blew my mind actually.
Thank you.
Um,
Awesome.
I love that. So, I want to not close out, but I definitely want to talk about like bad customers.
Oh,
You can like skirt
let
around
me
this
get my
issue.
book.
Yes. So, and there might be some more questions that I get out of this, but like right now
Yeah.
I'm just thinking like, okay, I know he and so when Josh comes to my house, because we've been doing like a lot of collaboration paintings and stuff together, um,
Yes.
somehow he and I always get on this like 1 hour rant of just like terrible clients that like are just like for the books, like you said. And so I don't want you don't have to like describe anyone or use anyone's name or anything, but is there
Oh,
any
I'm gonna use name, social, everything. I'm just.
yeah, seriously, like do not hire. We all have like a little black book that's like the do not hire list, you know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, yes.
And so I hope that this inspires other people, especially if they haven't really started yet. Like if you get a bad client, like it's probably not, let's just say it's not always your fault. There's going to be some bad people out there like that you just cannot
Yes.
please. And so do you
Yes.
have a story First, I want to ask you if you have a story that is funny or maybe like motivational about a bad client. And then second, I want to get your tips on how to handle a bad client, especially in the automotive industry, because like I said earlier, this is artwork that is going to be subjected to all kinds of environments. It's not just going to go hang on a
Yes.
pretty wall. So there's going to like long term be people coming back to you. I've personally had this issue where someone comes back to me and say, "Hey, the paint didn't hold up," or whatever the case is, and like, how do you
Hmm.
handle that? So story, and then how do you handle a bad customer?
Um, Thankfully, gratefully, luckily, we haven't had any really bad customers recently. I'm super grateful for that. And
It's great.
um,
9 years,
so
y'all. That's
nothing
good.
recent.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing recent. I feel like, there are definitely difficult people, and I feel like the most difficult people are the people that don't really know what they want, you know?
Mm, mm.
I just want to use this to let people know, educate yourself. If you're gonna
Yes.
buy something, if you're gonna, get your car worked on, if you're gonna buy a painting from Kate, whatever, educate yourself. Know, ask what you're gonna get, ask what goes into it. Because I feel like the customers that educate themselves beforehand, or even, yeah, the ones that educate themselves beforehand, it's a lot easier to deal with because they're more open and they understand what we're talking about. So,
Mm.
for your benefit and for the person that is doing the work for you, like, educate yourself. Just take some time. There's so much information on YouTube and all over the place. Take the time
Yes.
to educate yourself.
Or just go
And
to the artist website.
yeah, there you go. Even, yeah, a message. There's
Yeah.
so many people that get, that they'll ask me something, I'll answer, and they're just turned off by that answer, and they
Mm.
won't even answer anymore. And I'm waiting for the follow-up question, because we can still work together. Just because
Yes.
the price isn't what you want at the very, we actually spoke about this recently.
Yes.
Even if the price that I give you at the beginning, if it's not what you want, or it's not in your budget, but you ask me, hey, so what can we do with this?
Mm-hmm.
That really good communication really helps with customers. Don't
Yes.
lie to your customers. They will never trust you again. Just be honest with them. We're all human. We have the right to make mistakes. We are going
Yes.
to make mistakes. We go through different things. We're not robots. And
Do
I'm going to
you
respect you as much as you're going to respect me. So just really educate yourself. And communication will save you so many headaches on both sides. On
mm,
both sides.
yes, and I found it's actually very helpful to on the very front facing conversation, like even if it's just your basic text message, clearly ask the customer, is this your preferred method of communication? And if they
Yes.
say no and they give
Wow.
you your email, like, okay, email from the rest of the time, and you will, by leaps and bounds, exceed your competitor. Like, so many
Yes.
people do not listen to their customer when it comes to how they want to be
Oh my gosh.
contacted.
Yes.
So that I think that's a very good. And then you also want to make sure, like, I think that that negates having 10 different threads of conversation with the same customer and where you could miss something
Yes.
or they could miss something. So I think that's an important tip, like the communication aspect. I love that.
For sure.
Do
Yes. It's
you,
huge, Kate. It is
yes.
huge.
Do you feel so I'm just learning, I'm like 5 years in business, but a lot of podcasts I listen to, they talk about educating your customer. So it's almost like they say
Yes.
it's our job to educate our customer. And for me, that's almost challenging because it feels kind of condescending when you first start like talking to them about what it is that you do. Um,
Yes.
but like you said, some people come to you and they have not even looked at your dang Instagram, let alone like learned about what you actually do. And I'm like, how did you even find me? I don't understand.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so yeah, I think like them being educated is also maybe partly your job, as the artist.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's really good. So that's a great, I think those are great tips as far as bad customers go. We all get them. So don't fret if you have that issue at here and
Yeah.
there. Like Josh said, I think I have maybe five I can recall that were like horrendous. And that's over like a 10-year span. So I think that's doing pretty good. So, and they were all,
Yes, for
you know,
sure.
that's and they were all learning experiences. A couple of those people are now some of my best like commenters on social media. Like I did
Awesome.
them right and they were cool with that. So, um,
Yeah, that's something I would actually like
yeah,
to
go
comment
ahead.
on real quick. Like, do good by them, you know,
Yes.
even if you have to go a little bit further for them, even if you don't think it's fair, don't get yourself in a hole, but do good by them, because
Hmm.
if you show up and you fix that, or you
Yes.
show up and you take the time to explain to them, 9 times out of 10, they will appreciate that, and they're not going to go
Yes.
and start bashing you and all this other stuff. You people really have to understand that we get it worse than anybody. You can go to Walmart, buy
Yes.
a horrible product, and people are just like, whatever, they throw it in the trash, that's it. But if you come to my shop and I leave a run, they are going to post it everywhere and they're
Mm.
going to tell 50 people. But if I give them a perfect job, they might only tell two. So to
Yes.
protect yourself, go a little bit further for them, and
Hmm.
take care of them. Now, if they're, something that I learned from Kate, and I always bring it up, is one day we were talking and she told me that she had to fire one of her customers. And that was the craziest thing I had ever heard. I was like, fire your customer? What are you talking about? And
Yep.
she
Yep.
explained it to me. She was like, he or she was just really difficult and we couldn't do it. And that was huge for me, because I felt like I had to do everything for everybody, even if
Hmm.
they weren't a
Yes.
good fit. And now I'm just like, I'll tell them, listen, I don't think we're the shop for you,
Hmm.
but I will recommend this person and that person, and you can go to them. So
Yes.
yeah, just go that extra mile. Communication is key. Our whole business changed once, the moment that I said communication is going to be number one for us. I want my
Hmm.
customers to know, to have a bachelor's degree in auto body by the time their car is finished. I want them to understand what is going on.
Yes.
So communication and education is huge, and take care of your customers. Don't let them leave unhappy. Take that extra time. Even if you got to stay an extra hour, 2 hours for them, do it,
Yes.
because it will pay off. And be responsible. If you messed up, don't try, just take care of it,
Yes, have some integrity. I think integrity is a big one. What you do when no one's looking is a big part of being an entrepreneur because,
Huge.
man, it goes back to your whole like passion, dedication thing too. It's like no one's looking, so I could sit on the couch all day, but guess what? It comes down
Yes.
to me.
Yes,
That's awesome.
exactly.
So I have two more things I want to
Exactly.
cover with you if you're down for it.
Of course.
One might be a little bit lengthy, but the other one is going to be hopefully a little bit short. We talked a little bit about pricing your work, and I know it's a
Yeah.
weird thing, especially on this platform, because, like I said, I'm going to be talking to multiple different industries, and so obviously, like whatever we talk about here won't relate to like a leather worker per se. Um,
Hmm.
but how did you come to in the beginning of your business? How did you set your prices? Was it based off of like labor? Was it based off of a price model you saw? Was it based off of like what did you base it off of? Because I think that's what's so challenging as a service
Yeah.
provider, creative service provider. It's like, how the heck do you price this, you know?
Yes. Yes. It is so difficult,
Mhm. And you don't have to go into like
honestly.
details, but like, the actual
Yeah.
numbers or anything, but I just want to know if you like had someone or something or whatever your trade tips were.
Yeah. Honestly, I would just talk to people. I
Mhm.
would find out what other collision shops in the area were charging, if they were charging
Okay.
hourly. I would look at small businesses like mine. Some people would charge per panel. So
Okay.
they didn't care how much damage was on the panel, they were going to charge you this much to fix it. Um, so I kind of, and I'm really, I like to try a lot of new things. I want to see what's going to work, what's not going to work. So I've done everything, Kate. I've charged per panel. We charge per hour now.
Yeah.
I've just, for a while I would just give people quotes, and I think it's going to be this much. And I've tried probably every way that
Yes.
that anybody in the automotive industry charges. And right now we charge by hour. Most restoration shops charge by hour.
Okay.
But I really just tried everything, and I would just see what worked and what didn't work. And
Hmm.
the losses were huge. For a
Oh
long
man.
time I worked for free,
Yes.
and but it was just a learning process. And as long as you're learning, you're winning. And thankfully now we charge per hour, and it's still difficult because you want to
Hmm.
make sure that you don't overcharge, you don't put too many hours in something.
Hmm.
But Yeah, it was really difficult for us. It was many years just trial and error, figuring out, talking to people. And like with the work that Kate does and the work that we do, there's really no price on custom work,
Yeah.
on handmade work. You can't just Google how much does this cost. And it's there's really no, you can't put a price, it's whatever we want to say it is, and that might sound horrible, but it really is.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows how many hours we have into something. I recently did a bike, and it was a tin and or a tank and a fender, and I had like over 200 hours in these two little pieces.
Mm.
So people don't really know what goes into it. So pricing was really difficult for us to figure out, but right now we charge hourly, and we're getting better. I think we can still do better, but we're getting better.
No, I love that. I think thank you for your honesty on that. Did when you so you said you had a team in the beginning. How many employees do you have?
Right now, I have it is me, it's Lorna, and then I have two employees.
Okay, and you're paying them, I'm assuming, yes.
Yes, and I
Okay.
pay them hourly as well.
I
Yeah.
was just thinking like if they're an apprentice or something, but okay, that's
Oh,
so
no, 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 they get paid.
so how was that like hiring your first person on board? Because like I think about that all the
Nerve
time.
wracking.
Yes, yes, I'm sure. I think
Nerve
about that.
wracking.
That's amazing. Yes. Well, that's and when did you do this? Like a few years ago? Was it recently?
When did I hire?
Yeah.
So I actually, when I opened my shop, I we opened in 2014. I ran the whole shop by myself for, I want to say, almost a year.
Mm.
I did everything from dealing with insurance companies to cleaning the bathroom, like everything. It was just me.
Dude, I would rather
And
clean the bathroom than deal with insurance companies. I'm
oh
telling
my
you.
gosh, yes. And they're worse now, Kate. Oh my
Oh my God, bless
gosh.
you. So for those that don't know, I used to work at Caliber Collision, and that was like the most stressful freaking job I have ever
Mm,
had in my life as a shop manager. So yes, I applaud you for that.
difficult. Well, and Lorna now, because she's the one that deals with them, thankfully.
Yeah, oh bless her. I'll pray for her. Shoot.
Yes. So
That's
yeah, I did
well,
everything, and then about after a year, I hired my first employee,
okay.
and uh, it went great. But once we revamped, that we
Hmm.
hired two employees at the same time, it was nerve wracking. But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely, they're awesome. I love them. They're family already, and I trust them
That's
with
great.
everything.
And how
So
long
it's
have
been
they
a
been
beautiful
with you?
experience.
So you said about 3 years then?
So yeah, after the revamp, yes, one of them, his name's also Josh. He's been with us for about 3 years, and he's
Wow.
amazing. And I have an employee that just came back to us. She left for another job, and then she recently came back with us. So I believe she's been with us maybe 2 years, and she's
Wow.
amazing as well. Her name's Lacey. She's awesome. So
Wow.
I'm super
Man.
grateful to have trustworthy employees. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like that's getting harder and harder to find. And I feel like
Oh my gosh.
personally, I've always thought like, man, if I could just hire one studio assistant, I feel like I'd make it in business. I'd be
Huge.
like, okay, I'm actually a business now. Because sometimes I have this belief in my head where I'm like, it's just me in this little room, and here I am making a living, and I don't have any employees. And I always
No,
thought,
ma'am, you are a full-blown
yeah.
businesswoman. You
Oh,
gotta
well,
own
thank you.
that.
Thanks for that. Yeah, seriously. But I always like daydream about what it's going to be like to hire my first employee because I know that's coming one
Yeah,
day if I want to. But
for
that's
sure.
awesome. So in that same thread, I want to know how do you celebrate your wins? Whenever like so the first I'm thinking like specifically the first time you paid yourself. Have you paid yourself or do you?
I probably went, man, probably like 4 or 5 years, maybe 4 years without paying myself a penny. I
Yes, no,
thought I was
listen.
balling when I would pay for my own, when the shop would pay for my lunch.
Oh man, yes, dude, I totally get that.
Yes.
Yes,
So yeah, definitely after the revamp, we started paying ourselves. Um, and
that's
uh,
awesome.
yeah, it's huge. And just to be able to give yourself a little raise and see, oh, we're hitting our goals.
Mhm.
We wanted to make this much, we're making that, and we still don't make as much as we should be,
Yeah.
but that's definitely something to celebrate. And
Hmm.
also just providing for other families, definitely for us, but knowing that we provide for other families every 2 weeks is a huge win for us. Like
Mhm.
we celebrate that. I'm like, yes, we made
Wow,
it.
that is such
Another
a
two
beautiful
weeks.
insight. Wow, it's so, so
Yeah.
true. That's an amazing.
Yes.
That is not was that that's not what I was expecting you to say. I was expecting you to say like,
Wow.
"Oh, we go out and have a beer at our favorite place," and instead you're like, "Oh, I'm glad that we get to serve these families." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this person is so humble." That's awesome.
For sure. It's
I
it's
love
it's a
that.
beautiful thing to be able to know that you can provide for somebody else,
Mm,
and also provide for yourself. It's scary, but it's a beautiful thing. So, and I'm
yes.
really close with Josh's family, and I know
Okay.
Lacey's boyfriend for a long time. So yeah, it's even though they're not legit owners of the business, for me it's
Yeah.
a family business. So to be
Yeah, well
able to
they're
provide for them is a
obviously
blessing.
yeah, I mean, if they're with you that long and then the other, she came back to you, I mean, they're bought in
Yeah.
your vision for Inline Six, which leads me to my final question, I believe. What is your, and I actually don't like this question, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What is your like 3-year goal for your shop? Like, even if it's
Wow.
audacious, even if it's dumb, like, and you're like, there's no freaking way that we're going to get this in 3 years. Like, what is that for you? Like, where do you see Inline Six going? And even if you
I'm
don't see it,
really Yeah, I'm really hoping to have a little bit more time to myself so that I can create more. There's a lot of things that I want to paint. There's a lot of things that I want to ideas that I want to bring to life, and I don't have a lot of free time. So I'm hoping that we can get to the point where maybe I can work 4 days a week, and so I can have a whole day to just create. And I have a little shop at my house, and just get in there and just spend the day with myself and
mm,
and create. So that's definitely a big goal for me, something that we're working towards right now. Um, Man, there's so many. I really want to. I have a dream just to put out a beautiful, full blown custom vehicle one day, done by us, inside outside. Make it on a magazine, tour the country with that vehicle. So that's a huge goal for me, just to have something at that level that we can show off. And
yes.
obviously provide my team, be able to pay my team more
Mm,
and medical insurance, all this other stuff, and just really set them up.
mm.
So I really respect them, and I want them to be happy and healthy, and that's always a goal for me, just to help them grow and to live better. So yeah, definitely have more time for myself, provide more for my team, and just build something beautiful that I can show across the country.
I love that. I think that is a very obtainable goal.
Thank
It's
you.
like I can totally. I mean, you already did the car. I mean, we have the car in our driveway, so I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Thank you. Thank you
Oh
for
man, no, but
sure.
I can totally like obviously we came to you with a vision, so I totally get like just give Josh this like blank metal shell of a car and just let him do whatever the heck he wants on it. I That's
That's
gonna be mind
awesome.
blowing. For those that don't know, like Josh is very well known in our little area of Texas for custom
Thank
roofs.
you.
And he does a lot of like for one of the local shows, he does a whole group of like custom painted barbecues that are like just tricked out, like shiny metal flake. Like, I
Thank
mean,
you.
his talent is unbelievable. And specifically, I'm thinking of one of the guy's cars that is very well known around here that Josh painted that has a massive Texas flag on the top. It's like a suburban, a vintage suburban. And it's all like flaked out glitter, like crazy. It's super, so much depth. Like, there's no way to even explain it on here or even show you a
Thank
picture. It doesn't do
you.
it justice. So, he definitely has the skills to make those dreams happen. So, last question is what is, and we kind of already talked about this with the dedication aspect versus
Hmm.
passion, but what is like your personality trait that you feel has helped you the most in your craft or your business?
I would say just being a hard worker and people knowing that I'm going to deliver.
Yeah.
I'm going to come through and I'm going to come correct. You know,
Yes.
um, you were just talking about the Texas flag that I did. Shout out to Stephen Bramlett. He actually, him and his wife told me that recently, and they were like, it was really nice to be able to drop our car off our truck off at a shop that we knew was going to be responsible and they were
Mm.
going to do good work
Yes.
and not have to worry about anything. And
Yes.
that's probably the ultimate compliment to me, that people trust that I'm going to come and I'm going to come through and I'm going to come correct. So I think that's probably what's pushed us um, as far as we are, because
Mm.
people know that there's no games, there's no shams, there's no, no BS. It's like, yes, I'm
Yeah, and
gonna
I
give you
think
what I told you, and I'm gonna do my best.
Yeah, and I think specifically in the automotive industry, you kind of have to combat that even harder because there are,
Mm.
to go back to your car salesman analogy, there are definitely some
Mm.
car salesmen out there in this industry that will be like, oh, I can do a full metal roof
Yes,
and metal flake roof in 4 weeks and it'll last you through every hailstorm in Texas, you know?
I love that.
So yeah, I think you have you have the extra job of like making sure that people know that you will come through with
Yes,
quality customer service, which I can actually vouch for you on this because we have worked together in that regard
thank
where
you.
I was your customer. Quality customer service and then just like insane quality of work. And that
Thank
is
you.
something to definitely not shake a stick at. So I'm super grateful to know you and Lorna. And
Same.
is there anything else that you would like to add, like maybe some advice, or do you feel like you've kind of, I'm hoping that beginners will be listening to this. So if there's anything else you want to add, feel free.
Yeah, for sure. It's really not easy to be a small business owner, and someday I would like to get to the point where I can coach small business owners and help people out because it's a long journey. This is not a
Yes.
sprint. This is a marathon. It
Yes.
doesn't matter if you're a millionaire, you will still be learning every day.
Yes.
So just talk to people, get advice from people that run a good business,
Yeah,
people
that
that
have done
that
it.
are honest.
Hmm.
Yes, that are honest, that are fair. Don't go to the bad used car salesman just because he's close to you. Go to people
Or
that
cheap.
are cheap. Yeah. Go to people that are honest and that you look up to, and just ask for advice. And most of the time, they'll be willing to give it to you because they've been through it.
Mm.
So ask around, talk to people, be humble, be honest.
Yeah.
Do to others as you want done unto you. Like, that's key right there. If you want to
Mm.
be respected, respect. If you want people to be honest with you, be honest with people, and that'll take you so far. Your product doesn't even have to be the best, but if you are honest and you are a good
Mhm.
person, people will come back to you. They want that experience. They want to know that you're somebody that they can trust. So be
Yes.
that person, and you'll go far.
Yes, absolutely. I definitely believe that service trumps talent. And so
Yes, ma'am.
if you can like go above and beyond with your service and your work, maybe not be the best or the best in Texas, but it is good, it's gonna be the best thing. And I definitely agree with you
Yes.
on the marathon aspect. Like there's something I've always wanted to paint in my studio is the tortoise wins the race because
Yes.
that whole like I've always wanted to do like a lowbrow painting of like the tortoise like all like decked out in his medals because like heavy like hanging, because I'm like
Yeah.
that is the game. Like it feels like a
Yes.
sprint, but it is totally a marathon and there's going to be a lot more uphill than there is downhill sometimes.
Yes.
So
For
I love that.
sure.
Well, hey
For
man,
sure.
thank you so much for spending your evening
Thank
with
you.
me. I would just want you to give our listeners a place where they can find you and see these paintings that we're talking about, where your business is, everything like that.
Cool. Yes, for sure. You can find us, like Kate said, we don't have a website yet, but you can find us on Instagram at Inline Paint and Body Shop. You can find us on Instagram and on Facebook through Inline Paint and Body Shop. And then you can find me on Instagram, and you can find me at J_Goro. That's JAY_GORO. But our inline account is the one that's most active. So yeah,
Yes.
you can check us out there.
Yes, definitely. And they've got some amazing process photos as well as like completed
Thank
car
you.
photos. So just very beautifully documented work over there. So y'all check him out. I'm gonna put the links obviously in the bio as well in the description of this. But yeah, I appreciate your time, and I know I'll see you probably next week with the work that
Yes,
we do
ma'am.
behind the scenes.
Yes.